Oh, hello. Welcome back. Here I am with what I believe to be the last portion, part 3 of this hydrangea study exercise. Um, so I was noticing down here the table edge seemed to be a little bit, just a tiny bit off. So I want this opportunity so you can see that if that happens, it's a good idea to be, you can just come back and you can use a ruler, a straight edge, and you can mark it. It's transparent, so you don't really see it, but now that you know what it is, I put this right at the bottom, and then you can just mark it. And I like to use a light color, like a yellow ochre or Naples yellow or white, something that's easy to visualize, and that will be my straight edge. So then from there, so don't be afraid. You don't have to freehand everything. You can use a straight edge, a ruler. That's perfectly fine and an acceptable thing to do. So what I'm going to do right now so you can see it. Okay, so that's one thing that I want. Now I'm going to come back underneath that and build up that dark under the table and under that napkin. And I think what I'm using for that is going to be just trying to think what I want. Almost like what I like to use on that is going to be the ultramarine blue. It's a cool, and here's my liquid. So here's my ultramarine blue. And I'm kind of running low on it, so I need a little more, to put a little more on my palette. Okay, so let me get that. This is like the end where we do a little more of the detail, and like that was my ultramarine, and it's almost gone. So I could put a little fresh paint on top of it. And now the other one is going to be the raw umber. Here it is. Okay, that's my go-to color. I go to this a lot. I'm going to just put it up there, so that, all right, so here it is. It's just a tiny bit of blue. I'm not going half and half. It's mostly going to be, I think I will. I'll use more blue than raw umber actually, because I wanted to have like repeat some of the colors that are in the background, that are the main colors, which is the flowers, the blues with the blues. So the cool, a cool dark is what we're doing. So the way we cool it is by adding more of the ultramarine blue than the raw umber. Now this brush is a number 12, and I did get this at a store that is it's Daiso. It's a Japanese store, and it's not necessarily a art store, but they do have a lot of neat things that we do use. They do have some art items, and this is one of my favorite items. One of my students a few years ago was painting with them, and I asked her about it, and she says, oh yeah, they're wonderful. It's only $1.50 for 5 of them, and it's a Japanese store. They have a 0, 6, 8, 10, and 12, and I always call first because they do run out of them. So let your fingers do the walking, and they always come in handy for one thing or another. Now, because this is an oil painting, I like to wait at least 6 months before I put a sealer on it or a lacquer, because the oil paints, they dry by oxidation. So even if you touch it to the finger, if you touch it and you say, oh well, it's dry, it's not really, because it's still going through a chemical process underneath. And so you want to wait at least 6 months. That's the recommended minimal amount of time. And then when I do, I just use a spray because I think it's simpler to use. Okay, now right here where it's the table part, that's where I use the raw umber, but I use some Alizarin crimson mixed with it, so that it gives me that a little mahogany, kind of a rich red wood. Okay, now right here, I can tell that that's the edge of a table because it's a little lighter value than the one underneath it. Okay, I think that's pretty good for now. And I'm adding just a tiny bit more of a highlight there for the wood, for the edge of the table. I think I went a little overboard too much, so it just needs to be a little hint of a highlight. right. I think that's it. And I want to accentuate a little bit more of this shadow here, and that is mainly the cast shadow. It's a very warm, vivid color. So I go right up against the edge of the picture and around it. Negative space, and that negative space right up against that picture is what's going to give me a little bit of the shape is going to show up, that little bit of shape. Okay, so now the next thing I want to work on a little bit is the edge of this. The highlighted area of the picture is actually what I'm working on. What I'm working on right now, and take my napkins, take the excess off, and blend those edges out. A little highlight there. Now the highlight is right here, and I come down here and continue it in about the same position. If you have a highlight here, you want to follow it down, and you can also bring it down here to that base that's underneath. Now we need a little pitch shadow right underneath that. It just sort of blurs, but we want to emphasize that. So you can come here with your liner brush, and I'm going to, well, this liner brush is not that good because it's all kind of, does not have a sharp edge. I want something with a little sharper edge because I'm going to paint an edge. Okay, so now I'm coming here with my raw umber and my nice chiseled brush, and I'm going to go right underneath the very fine line, because we do not want a floating picture, right? We want to have a now it's sitting on the tablecloth. Just a little bit like that will make a difference. Will make a big difference. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm going to stop right here. Maybe I might come a little bit, see there's a little bit like a glow around here. I don't think I want to have that's a little too light. I may come up against it, against that leaf, just to, I don't want to have like the halo effect, the halo look, or what I call sometimes the light bulb. That's like a glow. See, I just want to get rid of that. by going right up against that leaf. Okay, I think this is going to be it for this painting and for this session. If you feel free, if you need to do anything else, I might do it. Everybody's is going to be different. This is not, there's so many variations to this really that you could just do your own thing with. I am going to, I'm using some, I think I want a little more white here. I got too carried away. Now that I look at it, it looks okay, but I wanted to read more as a white tablecloth. So I'm just adding a little more. Almost white to that. Okay, so now that I've added some more white, generous amount of white, I'm gonna take the excess off, and then I can just blend the edges without being afraid that I'm going to smear anything, because it's pretty much a dry brush. Taking the excess off and blending. Come right in here like this. So it's very important to think about how you use your brush. Because there's a different degrees of amount of paint that you have in your brush. It can go from dry, very dry, dry brushing, to very soft and almost also thick, like to paint impastos, kind of a thick paint. And so okay, so that's it for this exercise. Okay, thank you for joining me, and I will see you on our next painting. Have a great day. Bye-bye.